I have been a full-time solo game developer for a year at this point, and quite frankly, it's a pretty weird feeling because on the one hand, I haven't made any games. I didn't get any games released. I was hoping to get 2 at this point, and I have 0. That's a weird feeling, but on the other hand, I have been doing this for a year, which means it's not just a small stint. That's a good chunk of change, and as we're going to get into here, because I'm going to share the actual numbers of my budget, how much money I spend, and how much money I make in all the different categories. I'm nowhere near running out of money, which means you're stuck with me, and you're going to keep seeing me make videos, which is very exciting for me because I like making videos for you and sharing my journey. But on the other hand, I have only made $8,777 in the last year. Which, taken into account that I spent about $30,000 for a net of $21,465, that's not really sustainable now, is it? And this number doesn't take into account a tax refund. The first 2 months of last year, I was getting taxed at a rate of, I think I was making like $130,000 being a software engineer. And so I was getting taxed at that rate. So I basically got all of that money back here from doing my taxes, but that's not income I made. That's just like a boost to the core studio funding. But this number is pretty worrying, But you want to know why I'm actually not too worried about it? It's because I do a monthly budget. This is a projection graph here that shows kind of when do I think I'm going to run out of money. But every month, I've done this for the past decade. Every month I go through, I download all of my transactions from my credit cards and my bank statements, and I look at my, if it's a paycheck, or I guess in this situation, it's been Steam, Twitch, Game Dev Coaching, Ko-fi, and YouTube. I grab all of that money and I put it into an Excel spreadsheet, or I guess Google Sheets here, and I look at how much money I've made and how much money I've spent. Historically, that's been a positive number, but in the last month here, there is a big, long streak of red on this graph. And one of the reasons I don't feel bad about having lost $21,000 last year is because I can see the trend in the correct direction. And during that year, it's not like I just sat there doing nothing. I am learning a ton about game development. I am becoming a much better game developer, and I have my second game, Hexagod, it is literally like 23 days away from going into early access, which is exciting and is going to become a new line item on the budget. And the other thing that I think is really interesting to look at this, after a year of this trend, I can see trend lines. So I can see my total spending is going down. Now, it'll probably go back up once we get more back into the summer months, but generally speaking, it's not increasing. That means I'm not spending more money every month, which I think is a good sign for trying to minimize my studio costs. Because as a solo game developer, my costs are, I actually have them over here. My costs are basically my costs to live. I don't have employees. I do have cats, but I pay them in food and pets, and pets are free, and food isn't that expensive. So I have a mortgage and different insurances and phones and utilities and gyms, and I have a partner who pays part of the mortgage with me. So if I didn't have her, I would be absolutely screwed. So thank you very much, if you're watching this video, for being around and helping pay some of this mortgage, because I could not afford this house by myself right now. And then I also have a whole line item on here for my flexible spending, which leaves my costs, my average cost every month is about $2,620, which means in a given year, I need to make about $35,000 to break even. I then have some averages. If we go back over here and you look kind of over the course of all of these months, I can average out how much money I am making on different things and how much money I am spending, which means I am left with, on the last 3 months, my net average. So net being my total costs minus my total income, including the rent I get from my partner. It's not really income, but it's just like offsetting some of the costs, I suppose, is over the last 3 months, my average is $1,520. Which I can put into this little sheet over here, this blue area. And I can see that right now with my average last 3 months, my date of running out of money is August 5th, 2026, which is a long time from now. Hey, Aarimous from the future here. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Hexagod. I'm talking about my budget in this month, and if you want to support this channel any further and make sure I'm doing this for years and years to come, you checking out Hexagod, wishlisting it, giving me that feedback, clicking this add to your wishlist button is the best way to do that. I don't typically take sponsorships, although that might be changing here. I'm in the talks with somebody new, but generally speaking, go check out my content and my stuff over on Steam. I appreciate the support. Let's dive right back into sharing all those juicy numbers. It feels weird to be losing money and consider myself being a full-time solo game developer. Like this is not a temporary thing anymore. I think I have reached the point where I'm basically going to be doing this until I don't want to do it. Or it'll be 2 or 3 years from now because, again, Hexagod's about to come out and none of these projections include Hexagod. In fact, you can see here, if we dig into the numbers a little bit more, spending is going down. In the green line, income is going up. Even though I haven't made a new game, the trend line of my income is going upward, which as a business is a good sign. Ideally, this green line needs to eventually surpass the red line, and the blue line here is going to be the net. So you can see here, one of the best months here was actually January. And I was digging into the data because I can also graph that. If I have all of this stuff out here, I can easily graph this out, and I can see that some of the biggest buckets are going to be Steam, which is the sales for Chess Survivors. Over the course of the last year, I have made about $5,000 off of continual sales for Chess Survivors, and I've put in basically 0 hours of work into that game, which is pretty cool to see. The biggest two things that Chess Survivors had going for it was I got added into this self-published Survivor bundle with a bunch of other bigger games than Chess Survivors, and that helped have a big boost when that launched in the middle of the summer, as well as a good a sales season for kind of the summer, the Steam summer sales. Then there was some other big ones in the winter sale, as well as the it's called the Bullet Heaven Fest, which is like basically all of these like Vampire Survivors types games have a big festival about their game. So two big kind of categories, a spike of Chess Survivor sales, as well as my game development coaching has started to increase. In October, somebody from this channel reached out and they said, "Hey, Aarimous, I really like your content. I just need some help getting off the ground. I'm new to game development. I'm new to Godot. I'm new to programming. Can you help me out?" And I said, you know what? Why not? I put the cost at $50 a month. I made sure they were finding value from it. And at this point, I've done like 8 sessions with them, 5 or 6 sessions with another one, and a couple one-off sessions with a few other people. So if you're interested in game development coaching, there'll be a link below to Discord. Feel free to DM me and just give me a little bit of a note about what you're looking to do, and we can chat about an arrangement that will work for you. Slots are limited. I don't want to become a game development coach. I want to make games, but if you would find that valuable, feel free to down below, reach out to me. We can chat a little bit more about that. But that has become a pretty decent line item on the budget, especially in December and January. It was my second highest thing because, quite frankly, you don't make a lot of money from YouTube. In the last year, I've made $1,000 off of YouTube, $750 from Ko-fi. Ko-fi is like a Patreon type situation. I don't really advertise it because it was really something that somebody asked for. They said, "Hey, I've been donating on Twitch to you, but Twitch takes a big cut of donations. Is there any other way I could donate to you?" And Ko-fi was a good lower cost solution than Patreon. Game development coaching, as I said, has been increasing recently. That's about $900 at this point. Twitch is $1,270, and like I said before, Chess Survivors is $5,000, which leaves me basically doing this for as long as I want to do it, which is really cool. So if you're thinking of quitting your job and have been saving up money to go self-fund your own studio, I would highly encourage yourself to do a deep budget every month. Download all your transactions, look through it, understand your finances, where you're spending your money, be able to create these estimates and overestimate them. I have this conservative number here because this income graph, look how bouncy this is. It is not consistent. Even like some of these numbers, they're just very bouncy and inconsistent. And so there's no guarantee I'm going to keep making money from any of this stuff. The conservative estimate does that. This is if I stopped making money from any sources right now, when do I run out of money? And that's really important because once this number is like a couple months away, that's the go signal to go find a job. I don't want to get into a situation where all of a sudden, oh, I'm out of money. Now I have to have credit card balances and I have to sell my home or take money out of my retirement accounts. I don't want to do that. So I have big guardrails, which has helped me and my partner have conversations about this because although we're not married, our finances matter to each other. And so being able to have honest conversations and share these numbers with her on a pretty monthly basis of saying, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm going to run out of money. Okay, here's where you're at. Here's how you're feeling about our finances. I don't want her to be overburdened by my life decisions. So maybe there's going to be a situation where I do have to go find a part-time job. But that number starts to become easier and easier and easier because my average monthly costs are $1,500. Let's say Hexagod comes out here and all of a sudden this number goes down to $500. $500, that puts my run out of money point. I'm still in the negative by $500 a month, but I would run out of money in 2029. And I could go find a part-time job as a coffee barista or a janitor or something like that and make $500 a month. Will it be glorious work? Probably not, but it could be pretty chill and it could be something to help kind of just at least keep this engine going as a game developer. So I don't know. If you have any questions, let me know. I think this stuff's pretty interesting. And again, even though in the last year I've lost $21,000, I would say the health of the company. I put on a nice shirt so I can be presenting the Aarimous Studio brand to you. The health of the company is looking good. The health of the studio is looking good, especially with Hexagod on the horizon. And I've begun to think about game number 3 and prototype them and kind of come up with what do I want to make. You're not going to get rid of me that quickly and that easily. So we'll see where I'm at in 6 more months. If you like videos like this, maybe I could do them more frequently and keep you more updated, especially as Hexagod comes out. There'll be plenty of more videos on this channel sharing the numbers with Hexagod. Right now, we're sitting at about 2,500 wish lists for Hexagod. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's in the Next Fest right now. The demo's really fun. If you do want to give me feedback, I'd prefer constructive feedback. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it. And then at the end of the day, go ahead and make sure you click that wish list button. Yeah, I'm around if you have questions. If you want to do game dev coaching again, reach out on Discord. We can chat about what that looks like and how that process goes for you. Yeah, game development's really hard to do. It's really fun to do, but there's also a lot of stress caused by basically having not as much money as you could, and not as reliable of income as you could as a full-time job. So you can always have game development be this really awesome creative hobby on the side. You don't have to take the leap of faith like me, because I want to create a business, and game development essentially just becomes the lowest barrier to entry for me to create that business. I have been Aarimous. I'm not actually wearing real pants because I am a solo game developer and I gotta do that. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.